I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. The next item is the consent agenda. Does anybody have anything they'd like to remove from the consent agenda? Okay. Moving on to fiscal business.
Okay, I have a couple things for you today, sir. The first thing I'd like to get out of the way is the Resolution 5256. This is the quarterly resolution that authorizes the transfer of investment income from the general fund and to the funds that actually generate them. It's there for your action tonight, sir.
Okay, is there a motion to approve 5256?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Mearsfall?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Okay.
And then Matt is going to have a lot more to say about the CARES resolution thing, but there's a couple things I wanted to talk about. I sent each of you a potential program that shows how much money we've got in and how we're going to be expending that. I think we're going to add one more school recipient to it, which is the Chess Schools in Ridgeville. I think the initial assessment for them is $10,000, and so you'll be getting an adjustment to that particular file that I sent earlier. Also, the granting that we have, it's going to be a very aggressive time frame to make sure that we meet the time frames that's set by the federal government so that we don't send any money back. And Matt will have a few more things to talk about. The two individual programs, we're going to have the school program to offset some of those school expenses that have been related to coronavirus, and then also a small business program that Matt will be talking about as well. But other than that, I have nothing further for you guys right now.
Okay, anybody have any questions for us at this time? Okay, nothing under public comments at this time. And moving on to new business administration, we have resolution 5257, resolution authorizing appropriations, encumbrance, subgranting, and expending the portion of Bridger Township shared coronavirus. Yes, sir.
So yes, this is the first of two resolutions pertaining to the CFR CARES Act.
CRF.
CRF, I'm sorry.
There's too many acronyms.
This one pertains to one information technology purchase that actually Mr. Wade, you brought up several meetings ago, which was to do an off-site backup with an actual hard server at Station 21. It makes perfect sense to do just that, and in light of our remote working capabilities being beefed up and our internet security, it's the appropriate time to move on that as well. The primary component of this resolution, however, is the sub-granting to the public school districts that are in our area, as well as the Franklin Pantry. And what we're doing is we're bringing this resolution forward as an emergency in light of the aggressive time frame that we're working on. You know, Brian and Russ and I have been communicating ad nauseum about this, trying to figure out how to set up programs, that kind of thing. So we're all working on it. It's taken up a lot of our time lately, but Russ and Brian have both been terrific to let me sit here and talk about it, but it's been a total team effort. So with that said, if you look at the exhibit that's in your packet, the distribution is, as we had discussed individually, and I bring it forward to the board's for consideration and approval of that.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Matt about 5257?
Right, the chess school will be added to that,
It'll be
Next resolution.
Next meeting.
Resolution along with the business program.
perfect.
Hey, we're gonna be doing these later too. For
Right.
each, yeah.
Right.
You'll have sub-grant agreements too,
Right.
with the individual, entities, with each one of those.
To document it.
To document it for Ohio accounting and auditor purposes.
Okay, is there a motion to approve 5257 and dispense it with the second reading and declaring this an emergency?
So moved. Second?
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Mearsfall?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. We have resolution 5258, a resolution authorizing appropriations and so on and so forth with coronavirus. Yes.
Rinse, repeat, same thing as before, except for this one, we're just dispensing with the second reading, but it is not being declared an emergency for 5257 one.
Okay.
And this is for the Springboro Community Assistance Center.
Is there any questions about 5258? Is there a motion to approve and dispense with the second reading?
So moved. Second.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
I can second the motion, but I can abstain from the vote. I don't think you should second the motion.
Okay, I'll second.
All right, let me change that. So Mr. Mearsclaw is moving, Mr. Wade is seconding.
Yes.
Okay? Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Abstain.
Mr. Wade?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
So what Russ alluded to earlier was we're in the midst of developing business plan for sub-granting to our private entities inside of the unincorporated area of the township. And it's proven to be a little bit complicated because of the limitations on townships and sub-granting and giving money to private entities directly. The statutes seem to be pretty clear that townships can sub-grant and give money, general monies, tax dollars, to school districts, to 501c3s, but not necessarily for-profit private businesses. So the idea that's kind of developed in the last week or so was to utilize the county's Economic Development Office, who is administering the county commissioner's sub-granting program. So using their application criteria, using their time frames more or less, just pretty much using their program and being the cash behind it. So I've actually spoken to Matt Schnitke, who's the executive, who's the department head for the county economic development and the deputy director for the Port Authority, to let him know that if you get any applications for Clear Creek Township unincorporated area businesses, we will bankroll it, thereby allowing you to use county funds elsewhere, and we can expense some of our sub-granting funds towards individual businesses. So we'll cap the program at $50,000, is that what we landed on? $50,000, $5,000 per applicant, in the event that it gets used. Otherwise, we will take action on the back end to make sure that the monies are reappropriated to salaries. So that seemed to be the easiest, least resistant way to actually get the money into the hands of business owners in the township instead of building our own program because of the limitations in the revised code to give money to businesses.
Right.
And they're another government entity, so they're...
And they're another government entity.
And so, you know, us being able to sub-grant the Economic Development Office gets us out of the, keeps us one hand removed and keeps the law people happy.
There is a specific statute authorizing payment to the county development for these types of purposes.
That's the idea that's kind of developed in the last week and a half, and I wanted to brief the board on it here during our new business to let you know that's in development, and of course we'll execute individual agreements, much like we did here for any businesses. But as of today, in speaking to Matt Schnitke, no Clear Creek businesses have raised their hand to the County Economic Development Office. So
Do they know?
they may. I've been around in the community and asked, I asked Todd Game Day, and I asked folks out at B&B. I've engaged them in a conversation about it, and all of them have been like, we took the PPP, but we've been pretty good since then. So,
my thinking is that for a business, small business, for the $5,000, a lot of money, but what they have to go through to make sure that they don't get in trouble on accounting and the bookkeeping you have to do that, they may not have the expertise and may be smart to stay away from that. Quite honestly, it can get you in trouble. Just like the PPP in our office, I got a full-time accountant in our office. We probably wouldn't have done it if we to have that, because it's tremendous, what you guys know.
Yeah. Well, the county application for the business sub-grant is, thorough. How's that?
Understood.
But I think the county economic development office is going to offer some assistance to those businesses who might need it in making application, providing the documentation that they ask for, because it's expensive.
Okay.
So, there's that, and then, if you look at next to your packet, you'll see a purchase contract for 6908 North State Route 48. This developed over the weekend, and actually back and forth negotiation that landed on $207,000 in the sale price, with all of the traditional accompaniments for conditions of the sale: home inspection, termite inspection, septic, et cetera, et cetera. So, radon test, that kind of stuff. With the board's blessing, in a motion and vote, I would like the authority to be able to sign off on the document to sell the house at 207.
Does anybody have any questions for Matt about this?
Yep. Well, nice thing.
Yeah. No, I would say I'd like to entertain a motion to authorize Matt to continue negotiations and sign the appropriate paperwork to conclude this sale.
So moved. Second?
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yeah.
Thank you, and we will bring back a formal agreement when
Okay. That's
closing time.
As no surprise, it didn't take long.
Yep. In the hot real estate market, it definitely got a lot of attention from the on market less than a week.
Even with the cemetery.
The cemetery.
Good neighbors, good neighbors.
They're quiet.
It's quiet.
They're definitely quiet.
Most of the time.
They're
really dying to get in there.
Anything else under administration at this time?
No, not at this time, thank you.
Okay. Moving on to planning and zoning, we have resolution 5259, levying some assessments. Yes, sir.
Yes, so we did a series of assessments. At that time, we also declared these properties a nuisance. They did not clean themselves up, so we had to. So I want to add this on to their assessment cycle. So that's what we're asking for this evening.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve 5259 and dispense with the second reading?
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay.
Thank you, sir.
Anything else, Mr. Paul?
No, sir.
Very good, thank you. Road and Parks, under the consent agenda, the police consent agenda, anything else, Chief? Nothing? Okay, fire district, anything other than consent agenda?
No, sir.
We do have the consent agenda as the next item. Is there, anybody have any questions or comments about this consent agenda? Or is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yeah. Okay, staff updates.
I do have one thing. When we developed and ratified the employee handbook as revised in January, or actually our last meeting in December, effective January 1st, none of us had actually envisioned a global pandemic happening. With regard to vacation carryover, the ratified employee handbook calls for the allowance of 2 weeks to be carried over this year at the end of the calendar year. And I would ask for the board's authorization to allow for 3 weeks to be carried over, mostly to impact longtime employees who, you can't selectively apply this, it's got to be an all or nothing thing, but whose workload significantly increased due to the pandemic, one of which may be sitting directly behind me right now. So, I think it's the fair thing to do in light of being sent home for 6 weeks for non-essential employees.
Are you asking for this?
Reaction to it.
Forever or just for this year?
Just this year.
Okay.
Just this year.
Temporary.
Okay, well, I think that's makes perfect sense. Is there a motion to authorize the carry over of 3 weeks for employees for this calendar year 2020?
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Thank you.
No, thank you. Thanks a lot. Anything else? Anybody have anything else? Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
Is there progress on the new position?
Yes, actually, Mindy's collected a lot of applications thus far. I expect her to probably reach out to you, Mr. Wade, at some point this week.
Okay.
Start setting up interviews and checking your availability.
Right.
Yeah, we've got a lot of good applicants, so
Good.
excited to move forward.
Good, good. Okay. Anything else?
Okay, about that, so,
No.
you can't beat me to it.
All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Take a pic.
Yeah, let's see, whose turn is it? Mr. Gabbard,
Yay.
Mr. Metersville,
Yay.
Mr. Wade.
Very good.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Rest of you can take my motion.
Will do.
Hey, Chief, how's the college student?